how I kind of found the program. I was actually we had just moved, just had a baby, and I was telling Talena um, that I was just in a lull, right? I wasn't working out. I was finding excuses not to. Um, I was falling out of shape, right? I wasn't making time to go to the gym, wasn't making time to run. And I was like, it's almost like I need some sort of um, kick in the butt. I need somebody to tell me what to do. Although for the last, 15 years of my life, I've been self-motivated, you know,
Hmm.
to work out, to everything. I needed something. Ironically, that week, um, I scrolled across Ford's father on my Facebook stream or scroll or whatever you call it, right? And I'm like, oh well, what is this, right? I'm a father now, right? Bodie was
Yep.
a month old, so I
Yep.
was like,
Brand
hey,
new.
I said I fall into that category now. So looked into it and sent you a message and got my response, and short interview from you, which is was pretty comforting to see that you weren't just looking for anyone, right? You kind of did your own vetting process in the very beginning, because you wanted somebody that's motivated and can kind of is going to help the program and be of assistance to it and help themselves at the same time. So that was refreshing for me because I've been around motivating individuals my life, and I know that if I'm going to ask someone to tell me what to do and how to live my life for the next 6 months, in some regards, I kind of want that type of person to do that.
Hmm.
So it's refreshing to see you kind of vet me in the beginning, saying, "Listen, I don't want you here if you're not committed." So that was day one. That was a good thing to hear. Um, good structure from the very beginning. There was a lot of new stuff for me. Although I've been around CrossFit a lot, I have chose not to participate. I've historically lifted weights, ran, bike, and swam. Very generic weightlifting, bench, squat, deadlift, curls, things like that. Um, and so the whole style of working out, the Tabata, um, the high intensity workouts was new to me, but it was refreshing because it changed my way of doing things right from the bat, right? So
Hmm.
I saw some quick results right off rip. One, because I was just a slug for a couple months, and everybody knows it takes so long to get to where you want to be, and it takes so little time to break that down. I mean, you might be able to put it in better words, but I mean, you take a month off and you just destroyed 10 months of work, or, I don't know if
Hmm.
there's an actual statistic to that, but that's how I felt. And I had taken 3, 4, 5 months off, 6 months. And um, so the experience right off the bat, one, having the structure, having you pushing, and two, I didn't realize this at first, but once you get on the inside of things in the Forge Father program, I realized there was like however many other, I'm looking at 30, 40 other guys doing the same exact thing. I didn't know that's what I was getting
Yep.
into. And that was
Hmm.
kind of cool. That
Yeah.
was really cool. So you kind of have what you call, and what it is a brotherhood of guys that are in the same boat, that are doing the same things, that have the same goals to an extent. And so that experience was awesome. You're dealing with a whole new ball game to get you fired up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a big, like, pull the curtain back. Once you get through that initial 4 to 6 weeks, it's like, hey, look at all these other guys. They've been doing it too. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
We build that foundation, then the real fun starts. So like you mentioned, yeah, you work your ass off for so long to get to a certain point, and it's how it works. You take a little bit of time off, and man, it's like triple. You lose it, triple the speed.
Oh,
So
without a doubt. Without a
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Hmm.
It's like
Yep.
gosh dang. It's like I put so much work in, and I decide to lollygag for a month, and I feel like, Jabba the Hutt over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but
So
go ahead.
no, that's interesting because I remember our initial conversation. You were telling me you've done some like longer endurance type races.
Yeah.
In fact, you're there in Florida, and I want to say you were telling me about some race that you do around the island. Like,
Right.
how long does
So
that take?
Well, it's a paddleboard event, and
Yeah.
the event is called a crossing for cystic fibrosis, right? And
Yep.
it's a fundraising, charitable based event. But basically, what we do, long story short, is we paddleboard from Bimini, Bahamas to Lake Worth Pier. That's 80 miles, right? So that's an 80-mile paddleboard trip. Um, and one, if you're going to complete this trip, some people do it as a 2-man relay, some do it as a 4-man relay, some do it as a single recreational, some do it as a single race category. So, but uh, if you're going to complete this event, um, it is some hard work, and
Yeah.
it's fun. You're paddleboarding, you're in the Bahamas, the water's crystal clear, it's great, and midnight, Father's Day weekend, that Friday night, you leave, and if your goal is Lake Worth Pier, that's 80 miles, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you what, it hurts bad trying to complete that. It is a very, very strenuous event. So you're basically paddleboarding nonstop 80 miles. You can stop and stretch. You can stop and get in the water. You cannot stop and get on your boat. You can't stop and sleep. You're on a paddleboard or you're in the ocean the whole time.
Yeah.
So training for that is extremely hard. And
Yeah.
my whole life, I've worked hard physically, and I can't even pinpoint what it was. I don't know if I overwhelmed myself with tasks or overwhelmed myself with life, and working out wasn't a priority anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas I worked my ass off and was in the best shape of my life for 3 years running while I'm paddleboarding.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden I step out of that element, and I think, I guess maybe in the back of my mind, I think I don't have to work that hard anymore because I worked so hard for 3 years or however long, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we fell right out of it. But I mean, I was in the top shape of my life at some
Yeah.
point, or for those years. At the first year we did it, I was the 7th person, in the world to have ever done it.
Yeah.
My friend who I followed was the 4th and then 6th person. And, just to give her some reference, first year, we started off with 35 guys, and we only 3 made it. The second year we had 100 paddlers, and less than 10 made it. And the third year we had 225 paddlers, and less than 15 people actually made it from beach to beach.
Wow.
But not to go down a rabbit hole, it's going back to it. That's the type of shape I was in.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I, that, like, I can't pinpoint what it was, but that something went off, priorities changed, and I got out of shape, and I did not feel good mentally. I knew it,
Yeah.
but for some reason I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't push myself to get in the gym. I couldn't,
Hmm.
I had a house to move. I had a baby coming. I had bills to pay. And I made that a priority in my head, knowing that
Yeah.
I'm not really doing it that efficient because my mind and body aren't working together anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting to see that. And oftentimes guys get into the best shape of their lives. And it's, as I've talked about inside the Forge Father before, it's like you hit this peak, and it takes all this time and all this effort to like peak out. And it's just like you get there, and it's fulfilling, it's great. But then it's like you've reached the top, and that purpose is gone. That purpose no longer around. So you don't have the same pressure or leverage to push as hard. And so, yeah, you let yourself off the hook. But at the same time, I think a lot of times guys sabotage themselves because you knew what it took to get to that point, and then so you start falling off, and you don't want to go back to that. You don't want to work as hard as you did because, well, shoot, I think I've told you guys about like what it took to get to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Your wife's a multiple CrossFit Games competitor,
Right?
And it's like a full-time job. And getting there that one time for myself in 2018, it was like so much time, effort. I mean, it was the priority. And I got there, and now that I've been there, I just know what it takes. And so, I mean, I'm just real with myself. I'm like, I'm probably not going to put that much time and energy into doing that again. However, I don't have to do that to get and maintain great shape. Just like where you're at now, like you're back to great physical shape. But I think you've hit multiple PRs in lifts. I know you're power clean.
Yeah,
you haven't
absolutely.
been that heavy for years, and here you are back to that level of shape. I mean, you don't have to be at the pinnacle, but it's like you've made your fitness and your health a priority again. And, what types of effects have that had on you now? 7-month-old baby boy, which is obviously not easy, but how is going through this journey up to this point? How has that been a positive for you, man?
Well, it's been great because one of the mental things that I knew in the back of my head was, man, I don't want to raise my son to to be the way I was being, the
Mhm.
first, while he was, in his mom's stomach, and why the first month of his life. So, you know, forcing me to get back into that structure of things, and uh, it's raised my mental kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not faith, but my mental
You just,
confidence.
yeah, you
My
got that confidence. Yeah.
confidence levels back, right? So, and that transfers into a child, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, so, and as you said, you don't have to go to that level just to stay in shape anymore.
Mhm.
And maybe it was that I worked at that level for 3 years, and
Yeah.
I didn't know how to just take it easy. So I just,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know, but it's done a lot for me, because what it'll do, if, for instance, if I can't hit the program that you have for me that day, I'm damn sure I'm going to go out and run a mile,
Mhm.
or I damn sure I'm going to jump on my rower for 15 minutes, or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Um, it just jump started me right back into that mindset of getting something physical done every day, which in turn kind of boosted the mental side of things, and it has made me a lot happier day to day. I'm still kind of running ragged, and I take on too much, and I'm working too
Mhm.
much, and whatever, the same thing that everybody goes through. But to have that level of fitness, to back you up when you're kind of
Yep.
stressed out, it helps out a lot, big time.
Huge. Huge. Yeah. Because I know just we were chatting last week, and it's holidays, end of the
Oh,
year here, and you're putting in a lot of time, and you're a police officer, right?
right, yeah,
So, and you're putting in a lot of time, and that job isn't one of the easiest jobs in the world. It's very, very stressful.
yeah. I live in a
You're,
seasonal town too, right?
yep.
So it's the time of year. I have to,
Mhm.
one, I have to work because they need me to work. Two, I need to, I need, financially, I need to work.
Yep.
And I know that side of the financial side of things for most families can be a huge stressor, right? And
Yep.
we're having a baby, we're buying a house, and got to work, and we got to. But you know what? You got to find time to get that physical aspect of it in too, when all
Yep.
that's going on. Because if you don't, as you teach, and as you kind of guide us when we forget, is, without the mind and the body, you're not going to be very efficient at anything.
Yeah. Starts to break down the whole. It's the forged frame, and the frame. I'm a firm believer, and I mean it's proven every time you guys in the program take back control of your physical side. It's just like everything else goes up with it. I feel our fitness, our athlete role, if you will, when we maximize that out, our dad, husband, and producer role all increase with it. It's like the linchpin, it's the glue that holds everything together, because
Yeah.
you let that slip. Now you're constantly tired, you're out of shape, you don't have that confidence that you want to have. Like, you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm not really proud of that
Right.
guy. And so
Right.
it shows up in other areas, man. It does. So, once
Yeah.
you get that back on track, it's like you could be having a bad day, but then you take a glance in the mirror and you're just like, oh shit, I got it. I got it.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
this. I got this. You got that edge to, push through the tough
Well,
stuff.
I tell you what, too. I mean, having a bad day, and I remember I was just having a bad day. Right. It was a few months back, and I forced myself to go out and do a makeup workout that I didn't do the week prior, and do the workout you have for me that day, and go for a run. I think it might have been the beginning of the Trident Challenge, and
Mhm.
dude, I was so down on myself that whole day. It stemmed from work, whatever, and I'm lolling around the house and trying to make up an excuse not to go work out. And I finally just went and did it.
Yeah.
And dude, I did a post. I wrote probably the
I
longest
remember
post
that.
I've ever wrote on anything, right? And
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
just so fired up that I felt so good after I forced
Yes.
myself to go out, right? So it gives you that ability to force yourself to, you're going to feel better
Oh
after you
yeah.
do it.
It's like you
And
never do a workout that you don't want to do, and then afterwards you're like, "Well, wow, I wish I hadn't have done that."
yeah, I feel like shit.
You're gonna say that, you'll say it during the workout, but then when you're
Right.
done, you're like, "All right, I'm happy that that's over."
So
So
that's it goes back to, I guess I didn't realize it was there, but what you've created, the Forge Father Foundation, the Brotherhood, it kind of gets guys like myself and other guys in the program who kind of lost sight. It makes it easy to put us back on track. So I
yeah,
mean, like I said, I thank you for that, for doing that for me and everyone else. I mean, it like I said, creates a bunch of dudes. I chat with a handful of dudes I've never met right there in the Brotherhood
yep,
on
yep,
the side all the time about other things, about baseball, about
yep.
whatever, police work.
That's the good stuff about it, man. And you guys, I mean, obviously it's helping you guys, but it's also it's helped me tremendously, you know.
Oh, heck yeah,
So
man.
it works for all of us, man. And we all, and it, like, going back to that post that you put up, it's that type of stuff. Like, other guys might be, and this is the cool dynamic about it is, you know, other guys are going through similar things as you put that post up and they're like, holy shit, like I just did the same thing too. Like, and it's that much more powerful. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Love it. Love it.
it's been awesome, and the whole experience has been great, and I needed it, right? That's the whole point, is I needed it. So whatever made that post scroll past my phone that day, you know, I kind of, I like to think of the spiritual side of things every once in a
Yeah.
while, and it
Yeah.
was meant to be type thing. And it's like, well, you
Yeah.
know what? I've been saying all week I need this. There it is. Whatever, whoever Travis Stetzel
Yeah.
is, and whatever this Forge Father is, it looks pretty damn good. So let me click on it. You know?
Yeah, that's funny. Sometimes initial conversations, because most of the guys, I'd say 90% of the guys that are in the program, that's how I get the word out. I mean, I'm posting on Facebook all the time. So they're like, I saw something on Facebook, and I'm sure Facebook was like listening to my conversation, and it said like dad bod or something. And so it popped up. And if that's true, I don't know. But yeah, it's just
so what?
interesting. You know, yeah, you come across it, and I'm a firm believer of that too. Like,
Yeah.
people cross paths for a reason, you know? So it's pretty cool how that all works out, man. So, but yeah, so you've gotten yourself back on track. What are your sights set on here moving forward? Like, what types of goals do you have for this upcoming new year, man?
2021, man. We are, well, I tell you, my main goal is to stay kind of on the path here with the physical side of things. But we got, you know, the boy's 7 months old. We're buying a house, a couple promotional things coming up at work, which, you know, realistically, that the work thing is low on the totem pole. I want to make sure the rest of my life is in line before that, because I think that's important. I never want to put work before anything else, you know. Main goal, dude, is I started this program at 228. I'm at 223 right now, but my body composition's changed a lot, right? I've gained a lot of muscle, lost a lot of fat. Had a little slack off period in November, and saw that dip. 1 week of hard work, right back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
And so my main goal is to keep that on track. And I've decided to make that goal number one, because obviously goal number one's right. My son, you know, Tulane, his mom. And, but ultimately, you know, before that, I have to be in the right mindset to physically and mentally to be the best for them. So number one goal is them, but that translates into keeping myself healthy and physically healthy. Like, I transitions into my work too. I mean, I try to be the guy that you don't know as a police officer when you see me out and I'm off. I feel like I do a pretty good job. I'm pretty, you know, at that. But you know what? I want to be physically on top of my, you know, someone who I have to, you know, interfere with in my line of work, right? Someone that's a criminal, put it that way, and or someone that's out to hurt someone else. I want to be physically better than them, and sometimes I lose sight of that. Sometimes police officers lose sight of that. It's like, listen, that's what we're here for, man. My only goal, it's not to give tickets, it's not to give DUIs, it's none of that. I don't care about that. Like, I'm here to protect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And serve. Mm-hmm. And then I take it, and I took it seriously for 8 years, and this past year I did too, but I kind of lost sight of that. Like, and man, I was dipping physically, and I mean, you know what? I might not have been a better runner than the guy that's, you know, that is running away from me, or the guy that just smacked some old lady in the head and stole her purse. And it's like, I need to be able to run after them. I need to be able to physically overpower them and not hurt them at the same time, right? I mean, so the physical part of things transitions to a lot in my life, work wise and home wise. One, and Talena too, as you mentioned earlier. My fiance Talena, mother of our first son, she competed CrossFit for 3 years, and she is still a hard worker. If she comes out and does one of these Forge Father workouts with me, she kicks my butt every time, and there's no doubt about it. First time I ever did a handstand push-up was through your program right out here, and you know, I probably should let this go, but I don't like her coming out and telling me how to do everything. And she comes out, and I can about crack my head open trying to do my first handstand push-up, and she comes out and does 6 right off rip, strict. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So I have, you know what, that's something that the program's done for me too. It's allowed me to take a step back and listen to. It's easy for me to listen to someone I don't know, aka
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Travis. Right? We just
Yeah.
met 6 months ago.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But to have my significant other come out and
Yep.
kind of coach me was hard for me, and I was able
Oh
to
yeah.
let that go a little bit, and a lot actually. You know, I know she's worlds better than me at CrossFit, obviously. Um, you know, so I got to let go of the fact that I can pick up a little bit more weight off the ground than her, but I can't do much with it after that, right? She can do a lot
Mhm.
more with it than me. So it's taught me to let go of that, which was awesome, and she loves that. You know, it means the world to her that just to work out with me. She wants
Yeah.
someone to work out with as a partner, a real
Oh,
partner, like a life
yeah.
partner, and so she has loved the program because it's, you know, she's getting to do all these workouts with me, whereas before I want to work out by myself. I don't want anybody there, you know,
Yep.
type thing.
Yep. No, that's cool. And I think we all go through that same relationship dynamic. Like I went through it with my dad. Like he was my wrestling coach. Like he got me into wrestling when I was real young, and I never wanted to listen to him. He'd tell me, you know, you need to go out there and you need to shoot the double leg right away. Shoot before your opponent does. And I'd be like, okay, dad. And then my real wrestling coach, he'd tell me the same thing, and then I would actually do it. Right. So
Right. Yeah.
it's weird how humans act like that relationship wise. If it's like a closer relationship, you don't want to listen to them.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit of like ego or humility
Oh, of
or
course.
whatever, but yeah. And that's great because that's a huge barrier that honestly a lot of guys will never push through, and that'll cause a little bit of a rift in the relationship with their significant other, you know? So I think that's a huge step. Just strengthening that bond, and you know, another way that you guys can connect even deeper. It's
Without a
really
doubt.
cool, man. Heck yeah,
Without a
dude.
doubt.
So I love it, man. Love it. So any big breakthroughs that you want to share? Like imagine another guy's watching this. He's kind of where you were beforehand, before starting the program. I guess what's the biggest breakthrough that you've had, or I guess tip or trick that's helped you out the most, that you would like to share?
Well, movement for me has been a huge breakthrough, right? I'm sure there's guys that get into this that bench press, squat, deadlift, curls, right? That was me, right,
Yep.
forever. And I see someone do a snatch, and I'm like, oh my god, my legs or my arms would snap off my torso if
Mhm.
I did that type thing. So it's gave me the ability to do a snatch, right? I haven't power cleaned, and I went over this with you. I'm 32, and I haven't power cleaned since I was probably 17 in high school. So I went from, I can't even remember, probably power cleaning 175 or something ridiculous like that in high school to I can power clean about 235 now.
Mhm.
And I can do it, and it doesn't hurt me. I know I've learned the form. I've reached out to you, and I've reached out to people who know what they're talking about and learned how to do it, and it feels great. And so my mobility has gotten a lot better.
Mhm.
My strength has gone up in certain workouts that I never thought they would. So I guess one thing you guys watching can know is if you stick with the program, um, one, it's almost foolproof, and two, you're going to surprise yourself. Right? I surprised myself with some mobility things, movement things, and strength uh, in certain areas I never thought I would. So huge breakthroughs on that. As far as the weight, I thought I would never be able to lift power cleaning or snatching.
Mhm.
Right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't, and maybe I'll get back into it one day, but I haven't laid down and maxed out on a bench press in 8 months.
Yeah.
I've done some bench press movements that you've um, told us to do and programmed for us to do, but you don't really need to do all that stuff. And I never thought I'd say that. Like I always wanted to be the one to go in the gym and bench whatever the most, and that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would be, I guarantee you, I bet your bench is up, or at least the same from where you left off.
Right.
But oftentimes it goes up. Like mine, I can't even tell you the last time I bench press. I think it might have been a couple months ago. But yeah, it was just literally, I had it in my workout, so I did it. And I mean, I was right where I've always been. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how that works, man.
Yeah.
With less shoulder pain. When I was benching a lot, like college, coming out of college, my shoulders were just wrecked because I was always bench pressing.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Mobility thing, so yeah, man.
But yeah, you know what, guys that get into it, they're going to surprise themselves. So at least I did.
Yeah. So when are you going to do the 80-mile paddleboard race again?
That's Father's Day weekend every year. I was pretty instrumental in the beginning of that with, other charity things that, you know what, maybe we'll get you on our podcast if you'd be willing to do that. We have it's called the Epic Love Radio Show, right?
Yeah.
And it's stories of inspiration. That's all it is. And what we do is we benefit the cystic fibrosis community. So going back to what I was saying is I've taken on, and as of most people who began that journey have taken on management roles and production roles in the because we went from 35 paddlers to now 225 paddlers. We went from raising $135,000 to $685,000. So it's a lot of work now. So I'm not paddling. I didn't paddle last year. I'm not going to paddle this year. I will be at the event. I will be helping produce the event. I do have a goal of paddling again, but once again, you could do both, but you're probably not going to be too successful at either. You might have a little success in both, but if you're going to paddle and you're going to do that event and paddle 80 miles at once, you have to train for it, and you can't really have any distractions. So I can't go over there and work and help produce the event, and then paddle. If I'm going to paddle, I need to go over to the Bahamas on Tuesday and eat the way I need to eat and sleep and get my mind right.
Yeah, it's just too much stress
for 15 hours of hell, really. So I will paddle again this year. I'll be running a safety crew. I work on boats for the police department. I do a lot of the marine operations. So I've transitioned into running a safety crew, kind of overseeing the event because we're in the ocean the whole for 16 hours. So
love it. That's great.
Going to paddle again one day, and going to be running a safety crew this year, Father's Day weekend. As long as COVID doesn't change our plans. Canceled our event last year, but so we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's Father's Day weekend every year.
Yeah. That's awesome. Perfect weekend, man.
Yeah.
Perfect weekend. So that'd be good. I'm excited to learn more about that, man. And I'm definitely, if you would like to have me on your podcast, I'd certainly love to be a guest, man. So
yeah, that'd be cool. We'll talk soon. We need to talk soon anyway. And that'd be awesome.
Cool, man. Well, Josh, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you coming on. I know you're a busy man, and you got a lot going on. So I appreciate you taking the time and sharing your journey, dude. It's been a great journey thus far. And as we spoke before, I'm really excited for what's ahead for you. And man, we're really just kind of getting started with the fun stuff, man. So we've got an amazing new year coming up, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what unrolls, man. So
awesome, brother. Well, Travis, once again, thanks for everything. And I think I've said it just about everything every time we've talked. Thanks for what you do, because like I said, if it wasn't for you and what you've created, right, there's a lot of guys that might still be sitting at the house kind of chilling when they should be out putting the work in.
Absolutely, man. Keep leading from the front, brother.
That's right.